What does light travel in? Curved paths, circles, straight lines. The correct answer is straight lines. Here's a nugget of wisdom: light always travels in straight lines. This is called rectilinear propagation, and it explains why shadows have sharp edges and why you cannot see around corners without a mirror. What is a luminous object? An object that reflects light. An object that absorbs all light. An object that produces its own light. The correct answer is an object that produces its own light. Surprising trivia: the sun, a burning candle, and a light bulb are luminous objects. They generate light through chemical reactions or electrical energy. Is the moon a luminous object? Yes, the moon produces its own light. Yes, the moon glows from heat. No, the moon reflects light from the sun. The correct answer is no, the moon reflects light from the sun. Did you know? The moon produces no light of its own. It is a non-luminous object that we can see because it reflects sunlight. This is why its appearance changes as it orbits Earth. What do we call a material that allows all light to pass through it? Opaque, translucent, transparent. The correct answer is transparent. A quick fact for you: glass, clean water, and clear plastic are transparent materials. You can see a clear image through them because light passes straight through without scattering. What do we call a material that blocks all light? Transparent, translucent, opaque. The correct answer is opaque. A quick fact for you: wood, metal, and thick card are opaque materials. They absorb or reflect all light, so no light passes through, and they cast solid dark shadows. What do we call a material that lets some light through but you cannot see a clear image? Transparent, opaque, translucent. The correct answer is translucent. Here's an interesting fact: frosted glass, greaseproof paper, and thin fabric are translucent. They scatter light as it passes through, so you can see a blurred shape but not a clear image. How are shadows formed? When light bends around an object. When a luminous object stops shining. When an opaque object blocks light from reaching a surface. The correct answer is when an opaque object blocks light from reaching a surface. Here's an interesting fact: shadows form on the opposite side of an object from the light source. Because light travels in straight lines, it cannot bend around the object to illuminate the shadow area. What happens to a shadow when you move the object closer to the light source? It stays the same size. It gets smaller. It gets bigger. The correct answer is, it gets bigger. Fun fact: the closer an object is to the light source, the more light rays it blocks and the larger the shadow. Moving the object further away makes the shadow smaller. What is reflection of light? When light slows down. When light is absorbed by a surface. When light bounces off a surface. The correct answer is, when light bounces off a surface. Knowledge boost: smooth shiny surfaces like mirrors reflect light clearly, forming sharp images. Rough surfaces scatter reflected light in different directions, producing a dull reflection. What is the law of reflection? Reflected light is always horizontal. Light always reflects at 90 degrees. The angle of incidence always equals the angle of reflection. The correct answer is, the angle of incidence always equals the angle of reflection. Here's something cool: the angle at which light hits a mirror equals the angle at which it bounces off. Both angles are measured from a line called the normal, which is perpendicular to the mirror surface. What is refraction? When light bounces off a surface. When light bends as it passes from one transparent material to another. When light is absorbed by a material. The correct answer is, when light bends as it passes from one transparent material to another. Here's a nugget of wisdom: refraction occurs because light travels at different speeds in different materials. A straw in a glass of water looks bent because light slows down and changes direction as it moves from water to air. What type of surface reflects light most clearly? A rough, dark surface. A colored surface. A smooth, shiny surface. The correct answer is, a smooth, shiny surface. Here's a nugget of wisdom: smooth, shiny surfaces like mirrors and still water reflect light without scattering. Rough surfaces scatter reflected light in many directions, which is why they do not form clear reflections. What instrument uses two mirrors at 45 degrees to let you see over or around objects? A magnifying glass. A telescope. A periscope. The correct answer is, a periscope. Let's learn something new. Periscopes are used in submarines and were used in World War I trenches. Light enters from above, hits the top mirror, reflects down and hits the bottom mirror, which reflects it into the viewer's eye. What are the colors of the visible spectrum in order? Red, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, orange. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Orange, red, yellow, green, blue, violet, indigo. The correct answer is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Here's an interesting fact: the visible spectrum is remembered using Röntgen. White light from the sun contains all these colors mixed together. A prism or raindrops can separate them. What happens when white light passes through a glass prism? It speeds up and stays white. It turns into a single color. It splits into a spectrum of all the colors of the rainbow. The correct answer is, it splits into a spectrum of all the colors of the rainbow. Did you know? Isaac Newton first demonstrated this in 1666. Different colors of light bend by different amounts when they enter and exit the prism, which causes them to separate out. Approximately how fast does light travel through space? 3,000 kilometers per second. 300,000 kilometers per second. 300 kilometers per second. The correct answer is 300,000 kilometers per second. Did you know? Nothing in the universe travels faster than light. Light from the sun takes about 8 minutes to reach Earth even though it is traveling at 300,000 kilometers per second. How do we see objects that are not luminous? We cannot see them at all. They create their own light at night. Light from a source reflects off the object and enters our eyes. The correct answer is, light from a source reflects off the object and enters our eyes. Here's something cool: we see non-luminous objects because light bounces off their surface and travels to our eyes. When a room is completely dark, we cannot see anything because there is no light to reflect. What is the name of the full range of colors contained in white light? The wavelength, the visible spectrum, the refraction band. The correct answer is the visible spectrum. Knowledge boost: the visible spectrum is the portion of the electromagnetic spectrum that human eyes can detect. It ranges from red light with the longest wavelength to violet light with the shortest. What color does an object appear when it reflects all colors of light? Black, gray, white. The correct answer is white. Surprising trivia: when an object reflects all wavelengths of visible light equally, it appears white. Snow and white paper reflect almost all light. Dark objects absorb most light wavelengths. What color does an object appear when it absorbs all colors of light? White, gray, black. The correct answer is black. Did you know? A black object absorbs almost all light energy and reflects very little. This is why black objects heat up quickly in sunlight, minus they are absorbing the light energy as heat. What is the name of the scientist famous for proving that white light is made up of all colors? Galileo Galilei, Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton. The correct answer is Isaac Newton. Fun fact: in 1666 Isaac Newton used a glass prism to split white light into a spectrum of colors. He then used a second prism to recombine the colors back into white light, proving they were all components of white light. Why does a swimming pool look shallower than it really is? The water magnifies objects. The water absorbs some light. Light bends when it moves from water to air, making the bottom appear closer. The correct answer is, light bends when it moves from water to air, making the bottom appear closer. A quick fact for you: this is refraction. Light travels more slowly in water than in air, so it bends at the water surface. This bending makes the bottom of the pool appear to be closer to the surface than it actually is. What is a shadow clock or sundial? A device that measures rain. A clock that uses the position of a shadows to show the time. A mirror used to direct sunlight. The correct answer is a clock that uses the position of a shadows to show the time. Here's an interesting fact: sundials use the shadow cast by a central rod called a gnomon. As the sun moves across the sky, the shadow moves around a marked dial showing the approximate time. They are one of the oldest timekeeping devices. How does the length of a shadow change during the day? It stays the same length all day. It is longest at midday and shortest at dawn and dusk. It is shortest at midday and longest in the morning and evening. The correct answer is, it is shortest at midday and longest in the morning and evening. Did you know? When the sun is high in the sky at midday, it casts a short shadow directly below objects. When the sun is low at sunrise and sunset, it casts long stretched shadows because the light hits at a low angle. What evidence shows that light travels in straight lines? Shadows have curved edges. Light bends as it moves. Shadows have sharp defined edges and you cannot see around corners. The correct answer is, shadows have sharp defined edges and you cannot see around corners. Fun fact, the sharpness of shadows and the fact that light cannot illuminate the areas directly behind an object both demonstrate that light travels in straight lines rather than bending around obstacles. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Stay tuned for more exciting content, and we'll catch you in the next one.